there's a coming unrest of some kind. And the fact that this car was parked in the curve, I think this is just around the bend.
That's from a camera mounted on a light pole that you can see the officers throwing Tyre Nichols to the ground. And then there are two officers who grab Nichols' arms and put them behind his back, and they begin punching him. Another officer at the same time is kicking him. He is clearly unable to defend himself at this time. And then when he's finally placed back on the ground, you can see officers still kind of walking up and kicking him. It's very hard to make out what Tyre Nichols is saying, but we know that he's asking for help, and he's also apparently asking for his mom.
Well, as we said, that video is hard to watch. Parts of it are brutal. It seems like an abuse of power. You can't kick a man when he's on the ground, handcuffed. Decent people oppose that. Virtually all Americans oppose that. We should also remember that we don't know all the facts here. We've seen a lot of videos over the years that have been put to uses that had nothing to do with the topic of the video itself. So we should suspend some level of judgment, but that video is awful in a lot of ways. But here's what it's not. It's not an example of racism, systemic or otherwise. The man on the ground who was killed, or died in any case, was black. But so was every police officer you just saw hitting him. So, by the way, is the police chief of Memphis. So is most of its city government. So also is the overwhelming majority of the city of Memphis itself. So whatever you think of them, white people did not play any role in this particular tragedy. Whatever the story may be about, it's not about racial bias. Any honest person could see that immediately. But you would never know it from watching the so-called news coverage of this tape today. The only person whose race most media outlets identified was the victim. Another unarmed black man murdered by the police, they said. Moments ago on MSNBC, they just described what you just saw as white supremacy. It's not just outraged people taking to the streets. Why are we guessing that? Because similar violence is also expected tonight in cities across the country. As we speak, Antifa is coordinating riots on both coasts and in between. That would include Seattle and Portland, Oregon, and Los Angeles, California, as well as Atlanta, Georgia, New York City, suburban Washington, D.C., et cetera, et cetera. Barricades are going up right now in Times Square. The NYPD is worried about attacks on police and potentially public transportation. Our rage is stronger than their power, declared the Antifa chapter in Frederick, Maryland. Of course, by morning we'll know if that's true, but we already know there's a lie embedded in the claim. Our rage? We get so mad watching CNN that we took to the streets and set police stations on fire or whatever they plan to do? No. That's not what's happening. Antifa is not a bunch of hooligans. These are not idle kids who just appear out of nowhere because they're so mad about what they saw on cable news or read on Twitter. Antifa is a political instrument whose actions always are intended to affect a political outcome, period. Antifa does not appear by accident. Antifa appears with a purpose to affect a political outcome every single time. And if there's one criticism of the rest of us watching this at home, it's that we often miss that. Because every channel is telling us something terrible happened, here's a video of it, and sometimes the video is terrible. And then they imply that because of this video, the emotions of the people watching just erupt into rage and violence. But that's not what's happening. Antifa is being organized by whom? We don't know. Why don't we know? To do what? We can't say right now. But we know for certain that in cities across the country right now, Antifa is mobilizing to commit violence. Well, I just don't understand why this doesn't qualify under existing RICO statutes as a criminal conspiracy. We just put a document on the screen, I don't know if you could see it, from Antifa encouraging Antifa militants to bring rocks and pipes and kerosene. There it is right there. Burn it all down. So here you have an organized militia encouraging organized violence against the United States of America, and the Justice Department doesn't bring RICO charges against Antifa? What is that?
We are reliving 2020. You know, people ask me often and said, do we think that 2020 is behind us and it could never happen again? Let's just go back to Atlanta. It is not over. And I get so sick and tired of these race baiters making this into white supremacy.
What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Trojan the Barber, and I just kind of want to say some things, man. Really just kind of get some things off my chest. You know, I woke up this morning to news about a young black brother named Tyre Nichols. May God rest his soul, man. This young brother got killed, beaten up and killed by 5 black police officers in Memphis, Tennessee. And why is this news? This is news because not almost 2 years ago now, we had George Floyd, who got killed by the hands of a white police officer. And when you go on and look at history, you know, you also had somebody named Rodney King, who got beaten by 5 white police, I believe it was 5 or 4 white police officers. Rodney King riots, everybody went crazy. And George Floyd riots, everybody went crazy. You know, when Rodney King got beat, everybody rioted, everybody looted, everybody was out to kill white people. When George Floyd got killed, everybody rioted, everybody looted, everybody was out to beat and kill white people. You had black businesses burnt down, you had streets and homes torn to pieces because these white cops beat a black man and a white cop killed a black man. And it was big news. Everybody coming together. Black power, black power, black power. But now you have Tyre Nichols, a young black man who got killed by 5 black police officers, and everybody's quiet. And this just shows the hypocrisy of our society today and the hypocrisy of our community. You know, black people, we are killing each other at a higher rate than any other race against us. And that is a problem. That is a big, big problem. How is it that we are quiet when we murder each other, when we kill each other, when we beat each other, when we are committing violence acts against each other? But when another race does that to us, now all hell breaks loose. Oh, no, but nobody can't do that but me. You know, no, but nobody can hurt us but ourselves. We are plumb dumb and backwards thinking, and this is the prime example of why nobody takes us serious. This is a prime example of why the Democratic Party uses the black vote and never do anything about it. They never give us anything tangible. They always say and speak and tickle our ears, but they never do anything for us. They talk a good game, but nothing ever comes to fruition with them. You know, when George Floyd got killed by those white people or by that white cop and, you know, everybody was in arms and the black community stood strong, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they came out and they attacked every Republican. They attacked Donald Trump. They attacked all these freaking Proud Boys. They attacked everybody. But now that it's black cops that killed a black man, everybody's quiet. Where's BLM at? BLM raised all that freaking money from George Floyd's murder. And guess what? They didn't give not a dime to George Floyd's family. They bought houses in these rich, fancy, upclass neighborhoods with a bunch of white people, for crying out loud. None of that money went to the black community. But yet everybody still supports them. But now you have one black man getting beaten and killed by 5 black cops. I sure do hope that the black community is going to come out and be strong for all of this. You guys, man, we got to get together. We got to stop this madness, man.